Have you ever lain awake, in the quiet of night, ears ringing, and wondered, is this just what happens when you get older? That sound isn't just noise. It's not a life sentence. It's a signal. And here's what almost no one tells you, there is one key nutrient, often low after the age of 60, that directly feeds the nerves inside your ears. When it drops, the ringing can start. And most routine blood tests don't even check for it. In the next 2 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what to ask your doctor about, and why closing this one gap could bring back the quiet you've been missing. You deserve to hear your grandchild's laugh, without that constant hum fighting for your attention. So if you've ever thought, maybe this is just part of getting older, stay right here. Because the answer starts with a question most people never think to ask. Could my body be missing the very thing that keeps the noise at bay? Keep listening, because the answer is simpler than you've ever been told. Let's take a closer look at what is actually happening inside your ear when that ringing starts. Deep inside your inner ear sits a tiny, coiled chamber. It is lined with thousands of fragile hair cells. Think of them like microscopic blades of grass. Every time sound waves enter your ear, those little blades bend, and they send clean, clear signals straight up the nerve and into your brain. But here is what happens over the decades. Those delicate cells get worn down. Blood flow slows, just a little. And the natural aging process gradually thins the insulation around those hearing nerves. When the signals begin to drop, or fade, your brain does something fascinating. It panics. Quietly. It turns up the volume on its own internal wiring, just to fill the gap. That static you hear, that ringing, that buzzing, it is not actually coming from your ears. It is your brain trying to cover the silence. It is trying to help. But it leaves you utterly exhausted. And this is where the age factor changes everything. Your ears are incredibly demanding. They run on constant energy. They need steady oxygen. They need rich, consistent blood flow. And most importantly, those tired nerve pathways do not just wear out from time alone. They starve. Here is why that happens faster than most people realize. As we move past 60, our digestion quietly shifts. The stomach begins producing less of the natural acids needed to pull nutrients out of the food we eat. We absorb far less, from the very same meals we have eaten for years. We take everyday medications that protect our heart or our blood pressure, but quietly drain our nutrient reserves over time. We spend less time in direct sunlight. Our skin grows thinner, making it harder to convert light into the vitamins our bodies once made so easily. All of this slowly tips the balance your inner ear depends on. You may have already noticed the signs: afternoon brain fog that creeps in without warning. A slight wobble when you stand up too fast. The ringing that seems louder after a long, tiring day. Or simply feeling more exhausted than you should, even after a full night's rest. Those are not random senior moments. They are quiet clues. Your body dropping careful hints that your system is running underfueled. And when your system is running underfueled, your hearing nerves are almost always the first to sound the alarm. So if you have been wondering why the ringing feels louder on certain days, or why quiet rooms feel so heavy and hollow now, this is your answer. The shortage is real. But it is also fixable. And the moment you understand which two specific nutrients act like armor for those delicate nerves, the whole story shifts. From frustration to action. But before we name them, I want you to ask yourself something honest. Have you ever asked your doctor to check the levels that keep your nerve signals sharp? Because most routine blood panels skip them entirely. Stay right here. In the very next section, I will reveal those two missing pieces, show you exactly how they protect your hearing, and give you the one simple question to bring to your next appointment, so you can finally start turning the volume down. Let's name them now. Because knowing exactly what they are changes how you see this whole situation. The first is vitamin B12. The second is vitamin D. You have probably seen those names on food labels or heard them mentioned in passing. But you have likely never heard them explained quite like this. Think of vitamin B12 as the protective insulation wrapped around an electrical wire. Every nerve in your body, including the delicate ones carrying sound signals up to your brain, is wrapped in a soft, protective shielding layer. That layer keeps your signals crisp and clean. It stops them from leaking or getting scrambled along the way. But as we age, our stomachs naturally begin producing less of the proteins needed to pull B12 out of the food we eat. Without steady absorption, that shielding starts to thin. The nerve pathways fray, just slightly. And when the wiring frays, your brain picks up static instead of clear sound. That is often where the ringing truly begins. It is not an infection. It is not sudden damage. It is a slow, quiet shortage of insulation. Now let's talk about vitamin D. Most people only connect it to strong bones or sunny afternoons. But your inner ear actually runs on it too. Vitamin D helps regulate how calcium moves through those tiny, delicate hearing bones. It keeps the fluid inside your inner ear flexible and balanced. When levels drop, that fluid stiffens. The tiny bones lose their smooth, natural rhythm. The whole hearing system grows sluggish. And again, your brain compensates. It fills the silence with noise. Here is why this hits so much harder in our later years. Your skin naturally thins over time, making it far more difficult to convert sunlight into usable vitamin reserves. You may spend more time indoors, for comfort, for safety, for rest. You may take common daily medications that quietly block nutrient absorption, or gently alter how your body processes what it receives. All of these forces work together in the background. They do not happen overnight. They happen gradually, quietly shifting your baseline, until the ringing becomes a constant companion instead of an occasional annoyance. I have spoken with so many people who tried everything before discovering this. Expensive sound machines. Ear drops. Complicated routines. Nothing touched the noise, not for long. Then they ran a simple panel. Checked their B12. Checked their D. The numbers came back noticeably low. They made small, targeted adjustments, with their doctor's guidance. And slowly, the background volume began to soften. Not overnight. But steadily. Their nervous system finally received the raw materials it had been missing. And it began to quiet itself down. That is the part that gives people their breathing room back. You are not fighting a broken ear. You are feeding a system that has been running on fumes. But how do you actually know if this shortage is driving your own ringing? The body rarely announces a deficiency all at once. Instead, it drops quiet, subtle hints throughout your day, hints that are easy to brush off as just getting older. In the next section, I will walk you through 5 of those quiet signs. Signs that most people write off without a second thought. And if even 2 of them sound familiar to your life right now, you will know exactly where to start looking, and exactly what to ask your doctor at your very next appointment. Stay right here. Because recognizing those clues just might be the fastest way to finally turn down the noise, for good. Before we move on to the next one, if you are finding this kind of decoded health information helpful, please take a second to like and share this video with someone who needs to see it. Your feedback genuinely means a lot, so drop a comment below with your thoughts or any questions you have. And if you want to make sure you never miss our future sessions, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon right now. Let's walk through those quiet signs together. Because your body has been speaking to you long before the ringing ever started. You do not need to guess anymore. You just need to listen to the subtle shifts in your daily rhythm. Sign number 1 is that heavy afternoon brain fog. You know the feeling. You sit down with a book, or you try to recall a simple name, and the words just feel thick. Like you are thinking through a soft, heavy blanket. Sign number 2 is a slight change in your balance. Maybe you catch yourself gripping door frames a little more than you used to. Or you feel a gentle wobble when you step off a curb, or rise from your seat too quickly. Sign number 3 is a deep, unshakable fatigue. You sleep through the night. You wake up feeling rested. But by mid-afternoon, your energy simply drains away, and no amount of extra coffee brings it back. Sign number 4 is a quiet shift in your mood. You notice yourself feeling unusually withdrawn. A little flat. Less interested in the things you once loved. And you find yourself wondering, why does the spark feel dimmer lately? Sign number 5 is a subtle tingling in your hands or feet. Not painful, just a faint buzzing, or a soft numbness that comes and goes. Something easy to brush aside as poor circulation, or simply sitting too long in one position. Now, here is the connection most people completely miss. These are not 5 separate problems. They are 5 different branches, growing from the exact same root. When B12 and vitamin D drop below the levels your nerves and bones need to function smoothly, your whole system begins to slow down to protect itself. The brain fogs, because nerve signals lose their speed. The balance wavers, because your inner ear fluid and stabilizing muscles lose their coordination. The fatigue hits, because your cells can no longer efficiently convert food into steady, reliable energy. The mood dips, because the very same pathways that carry sound to your brain also carry the natural chemicals that keep your spirits light. And that tingling? That is your outer nerves asking for the exact same insulation repair that your hearing nerves so desperately need. If you heard yourself in 2 of those descriptions, or 3, or all 5, please, take a slow breath. You are not falling apart. You are not suddenly fragile. You are simply carrying a quiet shortage that has been building in the background, and your body is finally making it visible, so you can fix it. This is not a crisis. It is an invitation to clarity. And the beautiful part? You do not need a complicated diagnosis to know for sure. A simple blood draw at your regular checkup will reveal your exact B12 and vitamin D levels within just a few days. It takes 3 minutes. It is completely routine. And it gives you a clear, confident starting point, instead of another month of quiet guessing. I know how easy it is to brush this aside and tell yourself you will just learn to live with it. But why should you have to settle for static, when a single test could hand you the answer on a page? Now, knowing you are low is only half the journey. The real relief comes from knowing exactly how to safely and gently bring those levels back up, without overwhelming your stomach, and without interfering with the medications you already take. So stay with me. In the very next section, I will walk you through the simplest, most natural ways to rebuild those reserves, whether through everyday foods you probably already have in your kitchen, or gentle, doctor-approved routines that work quietly and steadily in the background. And I will tell you exactly how long it usually takes, before your brain finally receives the signal to turn the volume down. Now let's talk about exactly how to rebuild those levels safely. Because knowing what you need is only the first step, and acting on it the right way, is what actually quiets the noise. I want to start with the gentlest place possible, your kitchen. Think about the foods that naturally feed those tired nerves. For B12, eggs, salmon, sardines, and fortified breakfast cereals are wonderful places to begin. They give your body the raw material it craves, in a form it already recognizes from everyday life. For vitamin D, fatty fish like trout and mackerel are excellent choices, along with fortified milks and certain mushrooms grown under UV light. But here is the honest truth about relying on food alone. It takes a long time to correct a deep shortage through meals, especially when your digestive system has naturally slowed down over the years. That is why many people benefit from a little extra support while their body heals. If you do decide to use a supplement, the exact form you choose matters far more than the brand name on the bottle. For B12, look closely at the label for one specific word, methylcobalamin. It is a naturally active form of the vitamin, one that slips right past the common digestion roadblocks that older stomachs tend to create. You will find it as a simple daily pill, a quick dissolve tablet that melts gently under your tongue, or a liquid drop that absorbs directly into your system. For vitamin D, always look for D3 on the packaging. This matches the exact form your body produces naturally from sunlight. And it works best when taken alongside a small amount of healthy fat, a spoonful of yogurt, a few drops of olive oil, or a light meal, so it can move properly into your bloodstream, instead of passing right through. Now, I cannot stress this next part enough. Always speak with your doctor before adding anything new, especially if you take regular medications for your heart, your thyroid, or your bones. Some everyday prescriptions quietly shift the way your body absorbs or uses certain nutrients. A brief conversation can help you time everything correctly, so nothing interferes with what is already working for you. And please, give yourself the gift of a gentle mindset when it comes to your expectations. Your body did not lose these levels overnight. And it will not rebuild them in a few days. Think in gentle weeks, not rushed ones. It typically takes around 6 to 8 weeks of steady, consistent replenishment before those nerves have repaired enough insulation to begin truly settling down. You might notice the very first shift around week 3. Perhaps the ringing sounds just a little softer in the quiet of early morning. Maybe you find yourself sitting at the kitchen table, actually enjoying the stillness, without the noise immediately pulling your attention away. That small, subtle shift is your nervous system quietly thanking you for the support it has finally received. Do not rush it. Do not worry if day 1 and day 5 feel exactly the same. Healing at this stage is a slow, steady reconstruction, and patience is genuinely your greatest tool. Here is what makes this approach so powerful. Nutrition lays the essential foundation. But the quiet returns even faster when you pair it with a few simple daily habits that gently calm your nervous system alongside it. In the final section, I will walk you through exactly which low-effort routines work quietly in the background to lower that static, how to weave them into your current day without adding more to your plate, and the simple tracking method that lets you measure real progress, instead of just wondering whether anything is actually working. Stay right here. Because bringing all of these pieces together is where the lasting change truly begins. Now that you know exactly what to replenish, and how long it takes, let us talk about the quiet habits that work right alongside your nutrition to gently speed up the healing process. Nutrition repairs the wiring. But your brain still needs soft, patient guidance to finally let go of the static. Think of your nervous system like a radio that has been stuck on one frequency for months. Even as the signal grows clearer, the dial still needs a gentle hand to turn it back down. That is where a few simple, low-effort daily routines come in. Start with something called sound enrichment, which is really just a practical way to stop fighting the silence. Instead of sitting in a completely quiet room and waiting for the ringing to spike, play something very soft in the background. It does not need to be music. A gentle fan, a quiet rainfall track, or a low-volume nature recording will do beautifully. The goal is not to drown out the noise, but to give your brain something steady and familiar to rest on, so it naturally begins turning down its own internal volume over time. Next, pair that with a simple 2-minute breathing reset before bed. No complicated techniques needed. Just place one hand on your chest and one on your stomach. Breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold it gently for 2. Then exhale softly through your mouth for 6. Repeat that cycle 5 times. This quiet rhythm tells your nervous system that you are safe. And when background stress drops, the perceived loudness of the ringing almost always softens right along with it. Now, here is the habit that keeps most people quietly stuck. They expect instant silence. So they check for the noise every single hour, and feel discouraged each time it is still there. But your brain is incredibly sensitive to frustration. The more you fight the sound, the more attention you feed it, and the louder it feels. Instead, try keeping a small 3-line journal by your bedside. Each night, write down the date. Note whether the background hum felt even slightly softer or easier to ignore. And mark one peaceful moment you genuinely noticed during the day. Just one sentence. Nothing more. Over 4 to 6 weeks, you will look back and actually see the shift unfolding in real time. That visible proof matters more than you might expect. It turns quiet doubt into steady, growing confidence. You are not chasing a quick fix. You are simply stacking small, consistent actions that gently tell your body, and your brain, that it is finally safe to relax. And as those pieces quietly fall into place, something truly noticeable begins to happen. You stop measuring your entire day against the noise. You start catching the calm spaces returning on their own. The morning routine that feels a little lighter. The conversation where you follow every single word without straining. The evening walk where the breeze moving through the trees becomes the only soundtrack you notice. That shift does not come from wishing the ringing away. It comes from feeding the foundation, guiding the nervous system, and giving your body the patient space it needs to finish the repair work it already knows how to do. You have already taken the hardest step. You showed up. You asked the right questions. You decided to stop accepting static as your new normal. From here, the path is simply gentle consistency. Talk to your doctor about checking those 2 specific nutrient levels. Add one soft background sound to your afternoon. Practice the 4-2-6 breathing rhythm before you sleep. And track the small wins, instead of hunting for overnight perfection. Do not wait for complete silence before you give yourself permission to enjoy the quiet moments that are already slipping back in. Because peace is not a switch you flip. It is a space you slowly, steadily clear, one gentle day at a time. And when you wake up one morning, and the very first thing you notice is the calm instead of the hum, and that morning will come, you will know, without any doubt, that the patience was worth every single day. That quiet is not a distant promise. It is a daily choice. And it begins with the very next gentle step you decide to take, today. If this information has given you a sense of hope, or a new tool for your health journey, please like and share this video with someone who needs to see it. I genuinely value your feedback, so leave your thoughts or questions in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you want to stay informed with more content like this, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you are always the first to know.